What's going on, guys? Welcome to part 3 in this series in terms of how to dominate the weight room. In this video today, we're going to talk about what exercises should you be doing to help ditch the gut, to get stronger, and to help blow out some of those beach muscles, those arms and shoulders. In the first 2 episodes, we talked about what workers split to do, and you should be doing more weights than cardio. So if you haven't listened to that, I'd highly recommend to go check it out. But in today's video, we're going to talk about everything about exercises, and in the next video, we'll really break down the sets and reps for these movements. So I'm going to talk about like a 4-day split, because in Fat Loss Days, I typically program like a 4-day workout split. Not to say I don't do less or more sometimes, but 4-day split we'll kind of talk about today for the meat and potatoes of it. And we'll talk about, 3 or 5 days, a little bit at the end if you decide to do 3 or 5 days. But for the most part, we'll talk about a 4-day split. And if you watch part 1, I'm going to talk about an upper-lower split, because that's typically what I like doing for those 4 days. So upper body Monday, lower Tuesday, Wednesday off, back to upper Thursday, back to lower on Friday. We'll talk about the exercises to help structure and fit in those 4 days right now. So upper body, let's say you're doing an upper body workout on Monday. The first 4 movements, I like to go 2 back and 2 chest. And in particular, I want to pick one rowing motion for my first exercise. Or it doesn't really matter if it's first, second. If you want to get your chest more, you do chest. If it's back, you do back first. Doesn't make a big difference. But let's say I'm doing a horizontal movement pattern for the first one. It could be like a dumbbell row, it could be a cable row, it could be a machine row, it could be like a wide grip row. Any sort of rowing variation I want you to focus on for your first movement. The second movement you can do is some sort of flat press. So it could be like a barbell bench press, a dumbbell chest press, a machine press, a weighted push-up, something where it's like a horizontal pressing motion where it's not too much of an arc. The third motion, or I should say the third exercise you could do, is a pull down. So it could be like a chin up, it could be a closed grip lat pull, it could be a wide grip lat pull, it could be like a straight arm push down for the lats. So any sort of like vertical pulling motion is what I want you to do for the third one. And the fourth one I want you to do is more of like a vertical pressing motion. So it could be like an incline press, could be a landmine press, it could be like a seated press, something where you're getting a little more low to high. That way you can target more the upper chest and the shoulders. So that'll be your first 4 movements for the workout. After that, I like to typically go to some sort of lateral raise variation. So it could be just like a standard lateral raise one, it could be like a 1.5, it could be a cable lateral raise, it could be like a cheat lateral raise. Pick whatever lateral raise variation you want. The next one after that, some sort of bicep variation. So you can get creative here, right? Obviously dumbbell curls, incline curls, preacher curls, any sort of bicep variation. And the last one is some sort of tricep movement. So it could be a skull crusher, rope push down, a tricep pullover, any along those lines. Dips, of course, are great. Any that best works the triceps. And that's what would really structure day number 1. So again, your first 4 movements, you got the row, some sort of row, you got some sort of flat press, you got some sort of pull down motion, and then you got some sort of low to high press. That's gonna really get the lats, the upper back, the upper chest, and you're really checking off all the boxes there, and then some sort of lateral raise and some sort of arms to finish off. We're gonna stick this theme on the Thursday, so I'll come back to lower in 1 second here. So let's set the Monday. What would you do the Thursday then? So let's say on Monday I did like a closed grip row. What I would do for my first exercise on Thursday is like a wider grip row, for example. And if I did like a barbell bench press, maybe I want something more like a flying motion where it's still horizontal, but you're just getting a little more of a length and range. Let's say I did a wide grip pull down, maybe I do a closed grip pull down. So I'm just changing the angles to kind of hit different muscles, and I'm just basically reversing it from the Monday. So again, Monday, if I did a closed grip row, I want more of a wider grip row. If I did like a wide grip pull down on Monday, I want a closed grip pull down on Thursday. So hope you can see what I mean there. And then same thing for the Thursday for the press, for the last exercise before. Let's say I did like an incline press. Maybe I just want to do like a straight seated press. Take a little more shoulder, opposed upper chest. Just kind of play around with it, structure it in that way. And then again, if I did like a dumbbell lateral raise, maybe I want like a cable lateral raise. It kind of changes strength curve of the movement. If I did dumbbell curls, maybe I want to sit on the bench and do it more from like a stretch position on an incline curl. If I did skull crushers, maybe I want to do rope pushdowns. Again, just to kind of change the angle of the movements. So hope that makes sense for your upper body days. Just kind of change the angles around and play around with those movements. And this is a lot to remember. I'll kind of write in the caption for you, that way you can kind of read it and dive into a bit more. Lower body. Okay, we'll talk about lower body for Thursday, Friday. So lower body, the first movement I really like to do, any sort of lunge variation. So it could be dumbbell lunges, walking lunges, barbell lunges, Bulgarian split squats. I know it's technically not lunge, it's like a single leg. I should say single leg motion to do. Pick one of those for your first one. The next one you can do is some sort of hip flexion motion. It could be like a squat, it could be a leg press, it could be a machine hack squat. One of those three moves are typically pretty good. Try to master it in any squat variation you want that fits best for you. The third variation, this could be even second exercise as well. You can do some sort of deadlift motion. So it could be like barbell Romanians, it could be single leg. I should say hip hinge motion. It could be a barbell hip thrust, it could be a single leg hip bridge. So anything where you're really trying to get the glutes involved basically for exercise number 3. And the fourth one you could do ideally is something that goes lateral. So notice the first 3 exercises we talked about, it's kind of like all up and down motions. If you do something that's more lateral, whether it's like a frontal, like a side lunge, or a Copenhagen plank where you're just kind of getting the inner thighs, or a cable glute kickback, something where you're just getting out of what's called that sagittal plane, and you're going a little more side to side. That way you're working a little more on the inner thighs and the glutes, opposed to just kind of like quads, hamstrings, glutes. So that's what I do for the first 4 movements. Once that's done, I would do some sort of hamstring curl. So some sort of hamstring curl could be machine curls, lying down, could be seated. Something along those lines works pretty well. And then I want to pick some sort of quad dominant motion. It could be like a machine leg extension. It could be like a wall sit. It could be like a sissy squat. So something quad dominant after that. And that kind of rounds it out pretty good. That's 6 movements. And we'll talk about sets and reps in the next video. But if you want to add on bonus stuff, you can go like calf raises. You can do more kind of like low impact glute work, kind of like a fire hydrant. But that's how I really round and structure a lower body day. And now, similar to what we did in upper body, we're just gonna kind of reverse it, same idea. So let's say I did like a leg press, my first hip flexion motion. Maybe I want to do a squat. If I did deadlifts, maybe I'd want to do a hip thrust. If I did Bulgarian split squats, maybe I'd want to do some sort of lunge, like a walking lunge. If I did a Copenhagen plank, maybe same thing. I want to do more like a frontal lunge, kind of going side to side. And then same thing, but like a seated hamstring curl, maybe I do a line hamstring curl to kind of change, again, the position on the length of the hamstrings. If I did a quad extension, maybe I want to do a wall sit. So again, you're just trying to vary the angles up a little bit. That way you're making sure you're not leaving any muscle imbalances there. So that's how to really structure your exercises. I'll really break this down to caption because I know it's a lot to remember, but basically your first 4 movements for the upper, again, think row, press, pull down, incline kind of motion. Your first 4 for the lower body, some sort of lunge, some sort of like hip flexion, like a leg press squat, some sort of deadlift, some sort of side to side, and then just kind of play around with those angles. And that's the most important part. And then the last 2 or 3 exercises for those days, you can kind of mix and match it, whether it's like a cable lateral raise or dumbbell lateral raise, or a barbell curl with dumbbell curls, hammer curls, just kind of change the angles of those movements. Hope you enjoy guys. I'll, like I said, break down a little bit more of the caption for you. I'll give you a bit of an outline that you can see it, and it will totally make sense. If you have any questions, hit me up down below. Until now, stay tuned for part 4, which will really kind of talk about sets and reps for these workouts.